And welcome back to another GACC podcast where we're going to be discussing games, anime, computers, and collectibles, but not necessarily all that's been going on for the week. I am still your host, Harrison, which is funny considering last week Harrison was still the host.
Yeah.
To my right is Boss Pander, and to my left,
Hi, I'm Faust.
And
I was on the show last week too.
Yeah. What happened last week?
I have no clue. It felt like I was just in a completely different universe.
Yeah, that's.
It was one of those days where you wake up and your bra doesn't fit, and
I must say, Harrison, you looked pretty. Oh, so pretty.
Oh, so pretty and witty and gay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
So
Where
do we want to start? Let's start with Amazon.
should we?
It's funny because it's weird because
It's very tangentially related to computers.
Yeah.
So Amazon has come up with a statement saying that after they complete their acquisition of Whole Foods, that they are going to lower the price at Whole Foods. Of all items that they could feasibly lower the prices of.
Yeah, I mean that's like crazy. So basically, Amazon, has the FTC has cleared their purchase of Whole Foods, and shortly after this announcement, like the next day, Amazon comes out and goes, "We're going to lower the prices. We're going to become Walmart."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it make it easier, I guess, for people to eat healthy, but damn, Amazon.
I have a hard time drawing the conclusion that eating at Whole Foods is the equivalent to eating healthy.
Yeah.
They might have some things that are moderately less processed or contain less high fructose corn syrup, but in the end, it doesn't matter how healthy the food is that you're eating. If you're eating a ton of it, you're still not eating healthy.
Well, it's like I go eat at McDonald's and I drink and everything else, and I'm, if you look at me, I look healthier than.
I'm glad you had to state that qualifier. The guy who spent the better part of the morning saying his legs and arms don't work.
Right. But I mean, like weight-wise, because they always talk about that. But it's interesting because, Amazon's going to be using this, obviously, for delivery services. So they're going to roll out grocery delivery to the houses. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's kind of flew underneath the radar with this also is, right along with this announcement, Walmart has said they are teaming up with Google Home to be able to allow people to order using the Google Home device from Walmart.com. So basically, Walmart knows they're on notice.
Yeah.
Because you have Amazon, you have the Alexa, now you have Whole Foods. So Walmart's trying to figure out how to combat
and then Amazon even has one step beyond the ease of actually ordering something on Alexa and having it delivered, but they actually do sell, for regularly ordered products, they sell little buttons that connect to your PCs via Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And you just push that button and it automatically orders more of that product for you and pays for it and sets it to be delivered and everything.
That could be really bad. Imagine having a toddler. I got the button.
So I was reading a story earlier about...
Well, think about that with the 55 gallons of lube.
Oh,
and
man.
get that program to your
Lord.
butts. And
So I was reading a story about a bird of some stripe, probably a parrot of certain breed, that actually learns how to speak. It does not learn how to mimic voices, like cockatiels do, cockatoos. But it learns how to speak. It actually learns language. And it actually figured out how the name that they had given their Alexa and placed an order.
Really?
Yeah.
What did it
100
order?
pounds of food.
Yep, it ordered something. I'm not sure what it ordered or exactly how that went through or anything like that, but this is...
Tentacle dildo.
I don't know if you can get those on Amazon.
Tentacle dildos?
I'll have to check the sexual wellness and health.
I think Amazon just
section.
owns too much about now. But my question is, do you
Amazon-
order it off of Amazon and have to wait a week for your food, or do you get it right then and there?
It's 2 hours. It's 2 hour delivery.
What if I'm hungry right now?
Good, I'm not signed in. Oh my God.
See, okay, so I knew this was going to exist. what you're looking up, because Amazon actually has its own adult toy line.
Yeah.
So
I'm not seeing anything that is verifiably a tentacle meant to use to manipulate sexual
I think the first search, the first one that came up does. I think the first one does.
That is called a 5-tentacle finger puppet.
You know,
sold by Archie McPhee Accoutrement. Let's see here.
I think it can be used that way.
Long, soft, rubbery, fake finger tentacle. Fits over most fingers and bullet pointed twice underneath that, 7 inches long.
Yeah, so you can get your tentacle fetishes on.
It is sold alongside giant lobster calls, the 10-finger hands finger puppets, which are hands that go on your fingers, and then the tentacle mustache, and this thing called the handy corn.
So instead of a furry, you could be a crustacean-y?
I don't know if octopuses fall under the scaly blend.
No, he's talking about the lobster claws.
Yeah, well, so with lobsters or
maybe it's
any of that.
Maybe that's what, if you are a fan of Zoe Burger.
Those are
aqua tea?
No,
instead of a furry?
The crab claws.
Yeah.
So
funnily enough, there are no customer images for this, but it's sold under novelty gag and gag toys. So I doubt that that's actually meant for any sort of sexual wellness or anything like that.
So what's also interesting, getting back to the topic of Whole Foods.
Yeah.
You know.
Now that we've thoroughly ruined your appetite, let's talk about health food and ruin it even further.
Is that my phone?
That is your phone making noise. Is a party foul.
Party foul. So
yeah,
there's This also brings up antitrust questions. You know, because the tech companies have been coming underneath a lot of fire for, you know, are they too big nowadays?
Yeah.
So you have Amazon.
That is me agreeing completely that they are in fact too big these days.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so the antitrust laws people are saying are ill prepared to deal with these tech giants, such as Google, such as Amazon. You know, there was threats back in the day for Microsoft to be broke up for antitrust practices because they own such a majority share of the market with their software. And one of the things that Microsoft actually did back in the day is they injected money into Apple. Microsoft kept Apple alive.
Yeah.
Because if Apple had failed, then they would have been...
Yeah, they would have been the only PC provider dominating the market.
For software.
Yeah.
And they, you know, and then they would have definitely been called out as being a monopoly.
Well, I have to look at this. I mean, if they're going to buy Whole Foods and stuff, then as long as they keep the chain stores open so their cashiers, stockers, all that, the people that have jobs aren't losing their jobs. Because all these tech companies buying this, that, something else, well, retail has already gone down so far from people buying offline instead of in a brick and mortar store that they're taking jobs away from people that aren't in the tech industry.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like Amazon's, I mean, technically that's the weird thing with the antitrust laws and dealing with these tech companies is they're branching out into so many different things. It's hard to label them as a monopoly because Amazon has the ability with its big distribution network to hurt other providers such as Walmart, such as Albertsons, such as Kroger's by having Whole Foods.
Yeah, but the thing isn't that these competitors hurt each other. It's that it hurts the smaller businesses, the local mom and pop general stores, and the places that aren't run under a chain or a major conglomerate are incapable of competing because of the big chains and the big numbers being thrown around to buy these things, and the fact that they're more capable of getting products. It's easier for them to absorb import costs. It's easier for them to.
Also, the large stores, they get discounts for buying in bulk. Well, so a small mom and pop shop that runs in town, let's say they make $100,000 in a year. Well, that may have been like 10 years ago, and today they're only making $50,000 a year because they just can't compete with the prices of buying things that aren't in bulk, having to raise people's wages, and not being able to sell as cheaply. People aren't going to buy from them because they still have to make money to pay their people, to pay their rent, to pay all of that, and they can't afford to go $5 is something, you know, Walmart's selling, but the same store here has to sell it for $8-9.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, is you're talking about the mom and pop. No, this is actually affecting the bigger stores. I mean, 20 grocers have filed for bankruptcy in the past 3 years. So that's because these bigger stores have come in, like Piggly Wiggly. There's like medium-sized chains, and there's still chains that have gone out of business. And you have things like Trader Joe and Kroger's. They're going to take each other out. So we actually have an issue now where these bigger chains are starting to hurt each other. But some of the other underlying things that people get worried about when they are trying to tighten down is, well, Amazon's going to use drones for delivery. Or
that's not going to fly yet.
Or they're going to be delivering to the door. So it means
literally
you don't need,
and figuratively, that's not going to fly yet.
So you don't need cashiers in the stores. You have more grocery stores going to like electronic checkout, self-checkout type stuff. And I think Amazon is going to be in the ability to put RF tracking on all of the devices or all the foods. So that way you walk in, you just pick your stuff up, you walk out the door, and it's all added to your Amazon cart and then billed.
Speaking of self-checkout, if you don't know how to use a checkout, please go to the cashier. Nobody wants to wait behind you.
A lot of people hate the self-checkout. I was actually in a grocery store that was like near closing time, and since they had shut it down and count out, they decided to shut down and count out all available cashiers. And then we show up with a cart filled, our usual weekly shopping for 4 guys.
They should always have at least one cashier. I mean,
they made us go through self-checkout.
Because that's really for if you have a few things. You don't want to go self-checkout. I know if I have a whole cart, even though I used to be a cashier, I know perfectly well how to cashier myself. I don't want to go through self-checkout when I have a whole cart full of stuff.
Take this as the old fuddy-duddy waving, cane waving, get off my lawn bullshit that it is. But let me tell you straight and narrow, this future sucks, especially when it comes to grocery shopping. I mean, drones delivering products, that's not gonna really work. People are gonna say, "Don't you fly your cameras over my house?" That kind of thing. And I mean, just the amount of tracking that they could do with that sort of thing, or what they can do with the information that they gather about that. Being able to walk into a store, just grab a whole bunch of stuff and walk out and have it debit some sort of account.
Yep.
I mean, you're the kind of guy who hates self-driving cars. Think about the amount of information they would have already on you at the point that would be necessary for you to be able to do that without any headache whatsoever.
That's actually, that's not that big of a leap, because
it would basically be like having a store credit card that you would scan anyway. So they'd still have the same amount of information on you.
Yeah, that one I don't agree with, because Amazon is going to have that exact same information on me for my shopping habits. Okay, and so with RF tracking in the store, as soon as you go past a certain point, like the doors, and it detects all those RF tags are past those sensors, and you have your phone on you also, which is associated with those RFs. Then you...
So now they can access my phone too.
No, here's the big kicker, though. I mean, what if something's on sale and it doesn't scan it as being on sale?
Not to mention, I mean, you were talking about preserving jobs, and that's what the news article you linked was about as well. Yeah. I mean, think about it. If all we need to do is walk into a store, pick up stuff, and walk back out, I mean,
you don't need cashiers.
You don't need cashiers at all. You just have people stocking the thing. You maybe somebody round up the carts, and then a couple of IT people to make sure the database stays current. And they don't even need to price anything. They just need to stick an RF tag on it.
Well, like say you're using your debit card or something. I know a lot of times, I've gone a little bit over what I have in my account. Well, I know that I can go in there. I sort of pay attention to what's coming up on the screen, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be around 120. I only got 100 in there. I can go in and transfer on my account. Well, I wouldn't be able to do that walking out the door. I wouldn't know exactly. And they're like, so what if you don't have enough on your account?
Yeah.
And they're like, screw you, put that dog food back.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, but that's the high level example of that. Now, in other shopping news, Nintendo has decided to screw things up again.
As expected.
Yeah. So the SNES Classic Edition has come out. I would like to get one of these because of the Star Fox 2.
They're overrated.
Because of Star Fox 2, though.
They're overrated.
I don't care.
SNES games in general overrated. Take it from somebody who downloaded an emulator and played nearly every single SNES game that was ever released. And okay, there were some all right games, but I think most people who are picking this up are the same people who had the NES Classic squarely in their sights. It was all nostalgia blindness.
All right, folks. So all you Nintendo fanboys out there, Faust doesn't like the Super Nintendo. Let him know in the comments what you think.
Yeah.
So, but here it is. I mean, the pre-orders went up unexpectedly at 3 a.m. Okay, and then they sold out on the spot. So the thing is like, guess what? We don't have enough product again. This is the same thing we saw last year. But it's just, people are expecting, okay, tomorrow morning, things are going to get, the pre-orders are going to get lined up, get this and everything. And why 3 a.m.? That's what made a lot of people mad. It's like, I'm sleeping. What the hell?
Completely as expected. You know what it is they're trying to incite that Black Friday, Cyber Monday rush. Black Friday is now a week long.
Black Friday's month long.
Yeah, Black Friday is so friggin' long. Cyber Monday's a thing, and now we have these special pre-order, special edition, classic, whatever things. And I think that's exactly what Nintendo is trying to do. Is they're trying to incite this sort of buyer panic where people will go and just scramble so hard to buy something they won't even care how much they're spending, or they don't even realize what it is that they're buying.
They're not charging enough, considering that people are going to buy it off the black market now for way more than they would have paid. And if they had made twice as many, they themselves would have made more money.
That's the other thing is I bet there's no real retail cap exactly on how many you can buy as a person.
No,
there should be, because it would keep it being so bad from the black market, where somebody can go, okay, I want 20 of those.
So it's not the black market; it's the secondary market.
Well, whatever it is.
Okay,
you go. I want 20 of those.
I want.
It's pretty friggin' black, if you ask me.
I want there to be that distinction. It's the secondary market. The secondary market is not the black market. Okay, because I am a smart enough entrepreneur to say, oh, hey, this is going to sell the crap out. I'm gonna buy 10 of them, and I'm going to turn around and double the price and sell them on eBay. That's secondary market. That happens with a lot of collectibles. Okay.
I think with something that's limited like that, they should be like a limit. You can only have a limit of 2 until after, such time. And then if there are some left, then you can add to that.
I mean, to tell you the truth, the only thing that this does is actually differentiate the classic editions, both the NES and the SNES. It differentiates them from all of those other revamped console nostalgia blindness things that got brought out ad nauseum, mass produced under the cheapest possible specs out there. We're talking about the Ataris, the ColecoVisions, the Neo Geos that were put out there, just so hawked like such piles of junk that they were. And I mean, there's no talk about the build quality. I mean, we've heard about they evoke these games that are supposed to pull some sort of wool over our eyes, and so we go and we pay extra money for this device, and they make them in such a limited amount so that it's not going to be me 10 years down the line seeing one of these in a thrift store for $2, because somebody is going to want to protect their investment on this kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is this is
you're being gamed.
This is aimed squarely at the collector's market and the nostalgia market. This is not the first time we've seen game companies do that. I mean, we've been seeing them. Nintendo's about the first one to actually do it with hardware, though. You have Square Enix that had announced here recently that they're doing a Secret of Mana HD remake that's going to come out like February of 2018.
That's nice.
And they're upping the graphics, but it's the same game. It's just done in polygons, and 3 people are going to be able to play it online.
Look, if you want a Secret of Mana remake that gives you a new game with similar gameplay and is actually 10 times fun, look up anything of the modern Ys trilogy. All right?
I'm sorry, what?
Ys. Y-S.
Why? What? The Ys trilogy?
Yeah.
Why sucked?
Ys.
Why sucked?
Ys.
Ys. Ys.
Ys.
Sound like it's yeast.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna make some bread.
But the things with this is we're gonna have to see if they get enough into the market, because I mean last time with Nintendo, they still limited the amount that they came out. When they said we're gonna make more, and then they cut it off too early and everything like that. Nintendo is really good at basically milking the cow for everything it's worth. And
this is no longer milking the cow. This is milking the leather jacket the cow was made out of.
Look, somebody found out how to get blood out of turnips. Okay,
that's exactly what's going on here. I mean, this is the second round. This is not even the second round. This is like the 5th round of nostalgia blinding revamp. Let's re-release this piece of crap game thing. Because Secret of Mana was was a notable RPG on the SNES. Yeah, Star Fox was a notable video game on the SNES. It wasn't even one of the major franchises. It was one of it's in the realm of Smash Brothers. They're roster roundouts. They're things that they add in because they're running out of ideas. Yeah. It's not even. It's the major names of the things that they've been writing thus long: Zelda, Metroid, Mario.
Well, the thing with this, folks, is you can get the exact same thing by either having a PC or buying a Raspberry Pi, loading in Linux on it, putting an emulator, and playing the ROM. So you get the exact same experience.
There are so many different build projects.
What if I don't want Linux?
That's why people like you buy the Super Nintendo.
Actually, the Raspberry Pi has a Windows 10 distribution.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it with Windows 10 too. But that's the thing, is you can actually learn something. So you can educate yourself. Mm-hmm. You can still do this, but of course, then people go, "Oh, well, then you're pirating the games."
I know of at least 3 handhelds. You're not pirating games. They haven't sold these games retail in years.
But they are right now with the SNES Classic, and that's the argument.
That's bullshit. So that's just after the fact going, "Oh wait, we still want to make money off of these." Well, you made a lot of money off of them already, and then you decided they were dead franchises. You're obviously not doing anything new with them, so. Yeah, I mean, emulation is currently sort of a socially accepted thing.
Yeah,
it's considered grayly legal because a lot of people do it, and there's it is essentially victimless at this juncture.
Well, then you got, of course, Nintendo that's throwing a fit and doesn't want to game share, across platforms. So
was that Nintendo?
No, that's not Nintendo.
No, Sony.
Sorry. Sony.
So Nintendo just doesn't game share across platforms anyway.
They don't really have. They don't support. It's been.
Well, it's
rare.
not their game, so they shouldn't have a say on it.
Actually, Nintendo. Okay, so we talking about we talking about Nintendo, or are we talking about Sony right now? So if we're talking about Nintendo
isn't really notorious for having games that are existing on other platforms.
Sony, because it's PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move over to the Sony PlayStation. Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do.
A story has come out recently. Sony is being accused of actively sabotaging any way of having a cross-platform play, which was opened up by Microsoft with, I believe the news story mentions Ark Survival Evolved specifically.
Right.
In that they said that they have made it more than open and available for cross-platform play. Both on PC and Xbox One, and that Sony could feasibly have that kind of support, and Sony has dragged their feet.
Well, that's
quite deliberately, is what being said.
So yeah. I mean, the thing is okay. So that opens up some problems with the ecosystem, and if you get PC players with console players, the PC players are going to cheat. We have seen this.
Yeah, it's kind of guaranteed, guys.
We have seen this before historically. So EA's Need for Speed Underground was a cross-play game on the Sony PlayStation 2 and the PC. Okay? The PC racers were cheating. So
well, then they're jerks. But if, one of your friends has an Xbox and one has a PlayStation, and you have a computer and you all want to play together, well, I'm sorry, but Sony doesn't own that game. It's not their game.
And it's not like PC is the only place where cheaters happen. It's just a place that it's more common to happen. I've heard plenty of ways that you can cheat on console and get the same kind of workarounds, especially now that Microsoft is actually opening up keyboard and mouse support to Minecraft on Xbox One. So
but that's on like the Microsoft consoles. I mean, here's the thing, is your Boss Banner, your argument saying that you don't own the game is correct, but they own the ecosystem. They own the Sony.
They own the platform and the network.
They own that ecosystem. If they want to keep it so that the PC gamers aren't cheating on it, especially
that's not why. You know why they do that, right?
So they sell more consoles?
Yes.
Yeah. But here's the thing, is if they want to keep that ecosystem, fine. If they don't want to contaminate it with the PC players. The problem is, though, is people are missing the argument that if you get the PC people into that platform, then you're going to have those type of arguments too. If you have a purely console platform for the ecosystem for the game, it makes it a lot harder to cheat and deal with cheaters across platforms because, like I said, Sony's gone through this before with other game companies like Need for Speed Underground, and that died for quite some time, and now it's trying to come back again. And the thing is more games are being played online than what they were, back for Need for Speed Underground. It was like early 2000s. So, Ark Survival Evolved, you play with lots of people online. So if you're playing with lots of people online, and those PC people are cheating, and it gives them an advantage or ruins the gameplay, then nobody's going to want to play it. Is what ends up being.
Well, I think when you have the keyboard and the mouse, it already sort of gives you an advantage. It's just, for me anyway, easier to play that way.
Well, the way that they overcome the advantage of keyboard and mouse versus a console controller is the consoles are actually given sort of a more. The consoles are allowed to cheat. Is probably the easiest way to describe it. They're given sort of an aim assist and general. A general grayer area as far as positioning.
They could
and
always
things like that.
also say, well, we won't cross-platform with PC players, but hey, maybe Sony and Xbox there,
If Sony and Xbox can cross-platform and there's no mouse and keyboard involved, that's probably a-okay. But when you get the PC involved, that's the hang-up. That's the hang-up. Because
personally, I avoid any sort of online occurrence there because even if a game isn't designed to cheat, something like Ark Survival Evolved, Rust, 7 Days to Die, and any other number of these survival things are all designed around once you manage to overcome the environment that's set before you, it becomes making life difficult on other people and essentially griefing other players is the name of the game. And I personally don't have fun with that kind of idea, so I don't play those games.
Well, that's just that game. But there are other games that this has come up with. You had Destiny, I know, is kind of in the crosshairs for it too. But But Destiny, as a game company, has said that the PC players are separated from the console players.
You mean Bungie? Yeah.
Who? Destiny?
Destiny, I believe, is a Bungie thing.
Yes, it's a Bungie thing. But that's the thing, is you got to have some separation. I'm not particularly thrilled with having PC players in the same camp as your console players for a lot of these games, because if they are first-person based, the PC mouse keyboard people have a distinct advantage over the people that are playing with the controller, especially if there's shooting involved.
I mean, especially with
you have a gun.
I mean, that's always going to be kind of the sticking point as far as cross-platform play is concerned. Is the differences between the platforms and the pluses and the pros and cons that each platform offers. Well, yeah, there is the argument that you have more precision with a keyboard mouse kind of thing, or you have more finer control because you have more buttons that you can push to access certain aspects within any game. There's still the aim assist and the other. Like the uniformity of rendering capabilities, so therefore less lag, the net code that keeps the consoles better connected as opposed to whatever random kind of thing that is connecting your computer to a network.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many different pros and cons that are between those two. It's not just PCs are better or consoles are better. You're basically trading problems between one or the other. As far as cross-platform play is concerned, I really don't think that it's necessary. I mean, they're trying to homogenize this whole thing, and I always believe in the philosophy of the unification of technology, where eventually, somewhere way down the line, we're going to have just a device, and that device does absolutely everything.
Well,
but
the closest one probably right now is Minecraft, but Minecraft is not exactly a game that you need to just use a controller on.
Yeah,
so Minecraft using keyboard and mouse on the Xbox One S now. Is
certainly, the whole Minecraft community is just completely saintly and causes no trouble whatsoever.
What do you mean?
You mean some people don't dig through your house's walls and knock down your plants?
You mean some people will actually inject into the code and figure out how to get administrator privileges or close to administrator privileges on any kind of server and cause shit and wreak havoc for everybody?
They're saintly. You might as well
they're
play.
Absolutely saintly. There's nobody who causes shit on a Minecraft server.
They are so much better than the people in Rust and Ark Survival Evolved, aren't they?
Yeah, it's always about wrecking other people's shit.
Yeah.
That's why I don't play those games.
I'm going to build a trap.
I think some games are easier on console, some are easier on the computer. It just depends on the controls and the type of game.
I think this is another thing where eventually we'll come to a point where it's just everybody is using the same device, and then everybody can play everything together all the time. But right now, with the companies maintaining their strangleholds on their certain camps and their certain networks, it's not going to come to fruition anytime soon, and I don't think we should really push for it.
VR.
Well,
I bet it'll be VR.
It really depends on VR, AR, how that's implemented or how that's accepted is in the long run.
Well, my argument with keyboard and mouse. Okay, so Minecraft using keyboard and mouse now on the Xbox. My argument is, why do you need a console? It's like, congratulations, Xbox. You are now officially a PC.
Essentially.
Yeah. So, good job, everybody. You have allowed Microsoft to make a PC and sell it, which they've been doing with their Surfaces and everything. And this was such an argument for such a long time that if they ever start selling PCs, they would be a monopoly. Mm-hmm. See how I brought that back around?
Yes.
Yeah. So, amazing how much the times have changed.
And have not changed at all.
Yes. Now,
let's get completely off topic, because this is something I was actually excited. I've been a lot of doom and gloom and salt this entire episode. So I was excited to hear about this. I thought it was actually really interesting. The Last Jedi is already starting to release action figures for its current upcoming Christmas release.
Yes.
So displays and stores across the United States actually have an augmented reality offering if you show up, and it is daily. So you go there, you get a different interaction with a character from the movies, utilizing an app on your cell phone.
So you have to take a picture with the app, and it ends up tweeting it out with a hashtag or something with it. But here's the thing. This is an augmented reality campaign that forces you to get out of the house and go shopping.
Yep.
So
every day for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, go look and buy Star Wars toys down at Toys R Us and Walmart and everything else.
Now, here's the thing. It goes live retail at September 1st, so find where they're putting up these displays if you're really excited for it. On the first day, they are revealing a new character from The Last Jedi using this AR technology.
That'd be really cool, but can you imagine the lines, how busy that's going to be? Mm-hmm. And how many geeks are just, like, socially... like anxious.
I've been to midnight release parties and video game releases and cons.
You know what I would do if I ran a big store, like if I was a manager at like Target or whatnot, I would make sure that next to the big Star Wars display, that there was that on both sides of it, one was going to be like soap and scrubbies, and the other side was deodorant.
Wow, you guys are just stereotyping all over the place. I was saying, I've been to many a midnight release party, video game release, and Comic-Con.
This is why I'm saying this. I have seen the Great Unwashed come out when something brand new comes out.
You must go to the wrong...
The Magic tournaments?
Oh, that's Magic. Those people are absolutely filthy.
Those people are there for 2 days straight.
Matt, let me put it this way. I've been to these places, and I have not once come across anybody who was visually unappealing or sensorially unappealing to me in any way, shape, or form, as far as like cleanliness or attitude or anything like that.
You're so lucky.
Yeah, you were lucky. I don't know where you shop.
I haven't been to a Magic Con or a Wizard Con or anything like that, and I certainly know that of all of the places that I know of in this town where geeks go to hang out, the only place that I've ever seen anything along the lines of that, like the worst possible telling is the place that I know that was very popular for people to go to and play Magic the Gathering and Warhammer and all of those things, is the only place I've seen where they had to put up a notice saying, please bathe before you come here.
Yeah, those are the people.
So I've seen this time over time again at game stores. I've seen it at LAN, basically computer LAN internet cafes back in the day.
It's still like a thing.
Not as much nowadays, but
I know they have the VR arcade over at the mall.
Yeah, they have the VR arcade, but I mean they have to distinctly put up things as like bathe. Okay, a lot of things. Even it's like when it's like, oh, you're going to a con. It's like, remember to wash yourself. Nobody wants to smell you.
That's sad. Yeah. Like no matter what you're doing, that you would have to tell somebody that.
It's like our programming teacher in her syllabus at the beginning of class. And she would stress it as a part of like the first class or everything like that. It's like, understand, this is I don't want to smell my students. I don't want to have to, and I don't have to be your mother and tell you this. So just if you're going to come to class, bathe.
I think
and change your clothes.
It's like as a teacher or as a manager or anything else, you almost feel bad having to tell somebody, look, I'm sorry, but you need to brush your teeth or you need to put on deodorant or something. And you feel bad telling them that, but you have to tell them.
I'll explain the logic behind this. Because bathing takes time out of your day. That is at least 2 to 4 more matches in Overwatch. Okay?
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's what it comes down to. Is like,
I got this thing, so I just play my games while I'm in there.
You're not a real gamer.
You're not a real bather either.
Yeah.
Damn right I am.
Real gamers don't play cell phone games.
You could play a lot of different games on cell phone. And you know what? I used to take my laptop when I used to go soak in the tub too. I'd take my laptop sometimes, put it in a chair right next to the tub, and just soak in the bubble bath and play games or watch movies.
Until I see, I want to see a video recording of you sitting in the tub, professionally gaming.
You told me not to do it. You've seen me do it. You said, "Why the heck do you have your laptop in the bathroom?"
You must be streaming Diablo 3 from the bathroom. Okay, your channel will blow up.
This is my bathtub toaster.
Yeah. So
that's gonna be my new show, Tubby Time.
Tubby Time.
Oh, this is gonna be bad.
Bad. Well, speaking of the great unwashed and needing more time for Overwatch.
Yeah.
Overwatch, one of the most beloved characters is getting reworked, and that's Mercy. So
I don't care.
You don't care?
No. I bought Overwatch. I bought into the hype. I tried playing, and yet again, it's another one of those online games where it would be fun if it weren't for the other players.
Well,
so the fact that Blizzard is capable of creating these things that just draw so many people together and have them talking and sharing and loving and laughing and enjoying the different narratives that the other characters have, both with each other and over this overarching story and everything like that. That's great. That's fine. That's wonderful. I like that. When it comes down to player mechanics and balancing and changing this, that, and the other thing, nobody is going to be happy. Nobody was happy with the original setup. Nobody was happy with the change after change after change. Nobody was happy with the 4 or 5 other main characters that they have dropped over the years, and nobody's going to be happy with this. And it's a change to try and make the game. It's a change to try and keep the game interesting for everybody involved.
Is this your grumpy old man soapbox day?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So, with Mercy.
Get off my lawn!
So, Mercy is the easy healer and basically the healer that can carry a team, basically. Well, and the big thing is her ultimate was that resurrect the entire team, and that has delayed or made so many matches rage and everything like that. So the first thing they're doing with her change is they're taking away that ultimate resurrection ability, so you can no longer res the whole team. They're giving it to her as a mini res instead. That's on a longer timer cooldown, so you can only res one person. So it's supposed to help keep matches from becoming prolonged. But they're giving her a new ultimate ability, which is actually going to allow her to fly around, and it's going to do super healing, and it's going to allow it to chain through multiple people, or you can do the other thing where you power up their attacks and chain through multiple people.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a problem. It just sounds like trading problems.
I think it's kind of trading problems.
Just, she can still res. Okay. There are probably lots of clips out there of some very legendary Mercy save matches where it's basically almost the entire party is wiped, then Mercy ultimates.
Yes.
And just turns the tide of the game completely.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Well, the big problem here is they've had issues with it in a lot of professional matches where it causes it's everything's basically shut down, and then Mercy manages to basically Valkyrie in, and res the dead teammate and catches 5 or 6 others, and it's just and this is right after they blew all their ultimates. So, it turns the tide of a match.
Yeah.
And
that's called a strategy. I don't understand why this was considered a problem, but it's not necessarily the change that they made is going to solve anything or change anything.
And that doesn't always win.
Yeah.
I've had healers from other games that have group reses, and it doesn't mean you're going to get the castle.
But none of the other healers get this super res ability. So that's
all the other healers are support healers. Mercy is a main healer. That's all that Mercy does.
Well, what about Anna?
Anna's a support sniper healer.
Okay. What about Lucio?
Lucio is worthless. He's a speed boost.
You heard this, folks. Yeah. Lucio's worthless.
Lucio is a speed boost. He's all right as a healer to take the edge off another healer. You can have a Lucio and an Anna in a game and be fine. You can have a Mercy alone in a game and be fine.
Well, I think what they're doing here actually with Mercy is they are making Mercy a stronger solo healer, because the fact is you ultimate in the clutch, you can actually multi-heal.
It's no longer undoing the people that have been killed, but keeping those people that are still alive for longer.
Yes.
Which in the end kind of it changes the dynamic. It shifts things. But once again, this doesn't upset anything other than your poor rotation and the lean on tactic that Mercy is just auto mode for wins. So
probably less likely to get you killed.
So I'm gonna have to be like the real asshat here and be like, oh no, that means you actually have to play the game. Like
nobody actually plays the game with Mercy. It's Mercy like camps on the tank, and Mercy carries the team, and then Torbjorn gets the play of the game.
Basically,
yeah.
Well, wasn't it before that Bastion used to get play of the game all the time?
Bastion still does. If Bastion is done right.
I mean, in the end, like my feel about it is this is Blizzard's baby. This is the game that everybody is absolutely loving and eating up to no end. They're using it as a jumping off platform to re-release StarCraft. They're using it to put out more content for Diablo. I mean, they're riding on it because, let's face it, the World of Warcraft expansion sucks and it's not really drawing in the numbers that they thought it would. So, and to tell you the truth, I'm thinking Warcraft is like the only thing that's keeping it going is its player base. So, Overwatch is it. It's what you got. You might as well ride it as much as possible. And they have people playing Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. So this is a game that they're going to want to keep people playing as long as possible. And if that means shaking up the tactics, changing around the characters in the game as much as they can without upsetting the balance, fine, keep it fresh. Keep it fresh. I don't want the idea that somebody can just take a game and make a living professionally just doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's Counter-Strike. So
yes, that's also football and anything else.
I never really.
That's most games.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean there is
some of the oldest games there is.
There is a change to the strategy and tactics involved. It's trying to predict what the other team is going to do and then come back to it. Mercy is a one-trick pony.
Mercy's okay, fine.
Mercy was a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that this change itself.
The cat doesn't like religion.
Yeah.
Got rid of preacher. The preacher down.
I'm the preacher now.
It's like, he apparently doesn't like skeletons either.
Oh man.
Wow.
So in the end, this is gonna switch it up to actually force a sort of player tactic on Mercy aside from ride the tank and keep healing, like the medic, like you're somebody's pocket medic in TF2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is getting away from that, but
And according to Kaplan, Diva is next, so expect us to be whining about this next week.
Well, I don't think people are whining about the Mercy one. That's the funny thing. So we'll have to see what they do with Diva.
Yeah, I think they'll probably complain more about Diva.
Yeah.
Probably. Diva's like the internet's
that's
what do you call
the favorite there.
Figurehead right now.
I thought Mercy was if you go look at Pornhub.
Well, then you're looking at the wrong place, sir.
Yeah, but look at Comic-Con.
But I'll go check it out for myself and do some personal research later.
Yeah. You might get a newfound appreciation of, Diva. Maybe you can look at her in VR.
So, maybe.
Yeah.
If I can get my hands on one of those $200 things. Though I did hear rumblings, not that this is a story we plan to cover, I did hear rumblings that HTC is looking to offload its Vive production service.
Or the entire
Vive line.
No, HTC business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's more than just that. HTC is basically having issues. So they're struggling as a smartphone carrier, so they're looking to potentially get rid of businesses to help solidify back to their base or just sell the whole business off.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. VR itself is in a rather tenuous position right now, and until we see these smaller devices, the standalone mobile devices come out and see exactly how those are implemented, I think that VR itself is sort of in a stagnation, sort of standstill area.
Well, I think they could do VR really well. The problem is, to do it well, it's going to cost more than most people can actually afford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's been a problem. So, the thing is like we're at a point now where we at least have the technology that's good enough to potentially keep people from getting motion sick. But the thing is you are potentially, because you have higher frame rates and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But the price is still essentially the same as it was back in the day, because it was very expensive for VR headsets back in the day, and you still needed a computer. Now now they're saying like the VR headsets were down to like $600 for the HTC Vive and $400 for the Oculus Rift, but you still need a $1,200 plus $1,000 computer to power that headset. Okay, and you are still tethered. That's some of the issues there.
And then there's the fact that, while something like the Oculus is sort of a standalone device as much as possible, the Vive has extra components that you set up inside of a room,
which the Oculus has too.
The Oculus does that too.
Yes.
And then the PlayStation VR actually makes use of the PlayStation camera.
Yes.
As well. So they all do need to be able to see the player in order to kind of judge distance and location and stuff like that.
It'd be cool, like, if you could. I mean, of course, these would be expensive, and you'd need multiples if you have multiple people playing, but some kind of little platform that, because you would walk in a lot of games, maybe, but it'll like move any direction that you move.
There's been various spherical treadmills and slick surface kind of things where, like, you just stand with this ring around your waist, and then you move your feet on some sort of.
And
you remember what's that glide workout thing that was back in the 90s or something like that, the ski glide or something.
The ski glide.
Yeah.
They've shown off that thing. You can buy that if you really want to walk around Skyrim. But that's, again, it's so high up there.
I mean, come on. But how much walking is there in Skyrim?
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. You want to do that much walking?
But here's the thing.
Sure, you wouldn't have to leave your house. You get all your exercise.
So the HTC Vive has gone down $600, and Valve is not going to abandon the HTC Vive. They just use them as the
I bet that Artifact is going to have VR support. That sounds like a really good idea. It's about as good as making a Dota card game.
Truthfully, though, that actually sort of makes me want Skyrim now. Because could you imagine? You get to walk all over by the lake and on the mountains and this and that. On the other hand, you have to buy the VR set and the PlayStation 4.
I'm not buying Skyrim again.
I've never really played except for the first 10 minutes of the game. The kids love it, but that sort of makes me want to.
I think this holiday season we're going to finally see what's going to happen with VR in a gaming aspect, because we finally got some what are considered big AAA titles finally coming out in VR.
We have the Bethesda RPGs coming out.
Yeah, so we're going to have Skyrim VR coming out November 17th for the PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
We have Doom in VR coming out December 1st for PlayStation VR and the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
We have Fallout 4 VR coming out December 12th for the HTC Vive on the PC. So these are three big heavyweights all coming out. Notice what's not there. Oculus Rift.
The Oculus is kind of taken. It got shot in the foot several times, and then essentially got shot again so much that it's basically like that scene in RoboCop where they're just taking Murphy out with shotgun blast after shotgun blast. The Oculus is dead in the water as far as I'm concerned. Like, it just got lawsuit after lawsuit after Carmack left, and they found a way to completely tank it. So Palmer Luckey kind of delivered the death blow with his illicit funding of whatever and such.
Oh,
so it created dissension in the ranks. I mean, right now, if anybody thinks about VR, the major one that they go to is HTC.
Except for when the Oculus Rift dropped in price by $400. There are specific games in VR that spiked in price by like 300% sales. So I think it's still a price versus where it is in the market. You know, so I think Facebook's going to still take that hit. But on the Oculus, KFC is using the Oculus Rift to train employees how to cook the KFC recipe now, because they have determined that using VR to teach them how to be a cook at KFC is actually takes less time and is cheaper than doing it in the actual kitchen.
Wait, so the first VR missions we have are cooking chicken?
Yes. So, and it looks kind of like BioShock.
But what if you're no good at that kind of stuff? What if stuff like that just like confuses you and messes with your head, and then all of a sudden you're like, ah!
Well, you're not moving. You're standing in front of like...
Yeah, but like still you have to wash the chicken and fry the chicken and all that.
I think it's...
And what if you're just like... Stuff like that just frustrates you.
If you're going to fail at that in real life, you're going to potentially fail at that in VR. But this is to train the younger people more so.
But what if you could do that in real life, but you got that VR thing and you're just like...
That is a possible thing.
That is definitely a possibility. It's something that they're trying. I think it says a lot about the state of VR that they are willing to do something like that. Or this might but just be a publicity stunt.
It could be, because KFC's done some really weird publicity
they have
stunts
before.
But they're saying that they're able to do it in just 10 minutes versus 25 minutes in real life. So when you look at 15 minutes off of time, for training, it's potentially better, especially with a younger audience. And that's one of the things that even the military has certain programs that they've developed that, like the drones are being flied with Xbox controllers because...
Oh, lost another one.
Yeah. We're not going to have any by the end of the show.
We're just going to have Thulu. Because that's what the younger people are able to do.
Darn kids.
Yeah, so, I mean...
It's not going to work for us senior gamers.
Yeah, senior
kids are taking our jobs.
So, sure. And, I could see the argument that older people are going to have problems being trained to cook at KFC and PR. But when you have to look at it as cold-hearted as a company, how many actual people that are 40 plus or 50 or 60, so basically 40 plus, are really going to be applying to be a cook at KFC? And that's a job that typically goes to your young and experienced people that are basically 18 to 25.
This is where I point out that the majority of service level jobs, including fast food, are inhabited by people over the age of 30 who are just trying to make ends meet.
Are they nowadays?
Yeah, statistically.
Really?
Yeah, the teenagers and the 20-somethings aren't working in fast food. Or they'll get service industry jobs, but I mean they'll probably work
a lot
for
of
some
them
smaller
come out
business.
knowing the IT stuff also. So they can go into IT jobs where...
Or tech support or something
the
like
older
that.
ones that don't know about that stuff may have to take the lower level jobs.
Well, you said plenty of things for people to hate on you on this one. Let me be hated on this one, okay?
You go ahead, yeah. Go right ahead. In the realm of news, I did have to say this. I do have to preempt it a little bit. So Mark Laidlaw was a writer for Valve. Worked there for 18 years. Was instrumental in coming out with things like the Half-Life series and things like that. Left in 2016. About a year after the fact, he actually just now, this year, dropped what he reveals could have been the Episode 3 script for Half-Life.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah, essentially. That they were working on it, that he had a script in mind. He dropped it. He dropped it in a weird way, though. He changed a lot of the names so that you can kind of tell the character they're referring to, but they're not the same name as that character.
Names and sexes of the characters.
Yeah, he changed the names and sexes of the characters. It's since been taken and reworked on archive.org with the proper names in place and everything like that. But essentially it created this massive amount of hype. And then Laidlaw himself came out on his Twitter and said, essentially, I guess fanfic is popular, even a gender swap snapshot of a dream I had many years ago. So you got to keep in mind, guys, this was not the official approved script for anything in development about Half-Life 3. Maybe at some juncture, but think about how much revision Duke Nukem Forever went through over the years. And
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Duh.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting read.
Yeah, it's also confirmed that they're not going to be doing it.
No, they'd rather make card games.
Which, of course, makes the whole internet rage. But no, this is really cool because, I mean, the thing is, it was really weird because they left Half-Life 2, Episode 2, as a cliffhanger. We knew all this stuff was going to be potentially coming. So this is, for people that like the Half-Life universe, even as fan fiction, even though Dr. Ellie, the female doctor, is actually Dr. Eli. Come on, we're not dumb. We're not dumb. We know what's going on here.
The major main player's name is Gertrude Fremont, PhD.
Yeah, I mean the thing. I think a lot of it is he had a lot of stuff for the script. Valve didn't want to do it, and they got away from storytelling. I think that's why he left the company. And, this is one of his babies. So, of course, he's going to put this out.
I mean, I think we probably felt the time was right to put something out there to try and give the fans some sort of closure on essentially what was a cliffhanger that was so old that it was entering into the Duke Nukem Forever zone, where they could have been working on it or they could have not been working on it, and whatever they come out with is not going to satisfy the fans regardless of how well it ties things up.
The difference is Duke Nukem Forever was in the works the whole time. Okay, Valve has flat out said we're not working on it.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Yeah, we're just not doing this.
Yeah,
but everybody wants it, and they should have. And it's like, you left Episode 2 with a cliffhanger. You haven't done Half-Life 3. You've done these Portal games and all instead. What's going on?
Which I think the Portal games were quite awesome.
Yeah, versus Duke Nukem Forever was hyped, and redone. What?
Portal gives me a headache.
I've heard that before. Headaches, motion sickness.
Yeah.
Generally, the general vertical and equilibrium problems.
I like the game. Yeah. It's very interesting. Good premise, but I just get such a damn headache from it.
I do need to play the Portal 2 multiplayer at some juncture.
Well,
I still haven't found anybody to really play that with. Essentially, when it comes down to the Half-Life thing, like I treated the original Half-Life the same way I treated the original Quake or Doom or something like that, which is going by John Carmack's credo, which is story in a shooter is like story in a porn movie. It's not necessary, or not wholly necessary.
Oh no, there's some really good examples. I mean, have you ever seen Pirates?
Yeah.
Which one? Sid Meier's Pirates?
No.
Actually, yes, I have seen Pirates.
Yeah.
I wasn't really paying attention to the story. No.
It was a really good story.
I don't really.
I wasn't
care.
paying attention to the porn.
Yeah.
I just laughed through the damn thing.
So, when it comes down to it, like when Half-Life 2 came out and they were pushing this more story-heavy thing, and all of a sudden Gordon Freeman encompassed this, like, very almost religious icon within the bounds of the game or something like that, and it just really pushed me out trying to concentrate on the story, and so I just found myself slipping back into concentrating on the levels and the physics puzzles and getting through that, fighting off the helicopters and all of that. It wasn't necessarily about seeing the end of the story, it was just overcoming the challenge in front of me.
Well, you have to remember Half-Life 2 when it came out was around the time that we've seen some powerful story in first-person shooters such as Deus Ex. That was a
Deus Ex. Sorry, I'm rather a stickler about that.
Deus Ex. What the deuce?
Yeah. What the deuce?
What the deuce?
What the deuce?
But it was a change from we're gonna run around and we're gonna blow things up and we're gonna carry all our weapons and blah.
You kidding? JC could carry so much crap in that game. Anyway,
where did they hide all that crap?
Well, JC had a big coat, and if you believe the stories after Columbine, those big coats could hide arsenals. So
I bet the coat wasn't the only thing that was hiding stuff.
So when it comes down to like the actual story of Half-Life 2 and stuff like that, when they started tying things into Aperture, when I saw that cliffhanger at the end, of course I was drawn in. But I also kind of, after a certain amount of time, probably a lot less time than most other people gave it, I kind of realized exactly what the Orange Box was. What episode 2 was, which was an experiment in episodic gaming, trying to come out with shorter games for cheaper to keep people going for longer, sort of a serialization thing.
Yes,
kind of like a magazine or a comic book. And it was an experiment, and in some way, shape, or form, after all the analysis and all the numbers came in, it was deemed that experiment was a failure.
Yes.
So at that point, they had started such a social wave with that content that it was either continue resting on their laurels and keeping people waiting so that they continue to use their service until they become the biggest video game distribution service known to man, or they give in to the fan expectations and make something that is going to be wholly mediocre and unsatisfying.
We're just going to have to see on this. I want in my lifetime to see Valve get to 3. Okay.
1, 2. What
new
comes
game.
After 2?
New game.
New game.
Well, new game. I did buy Bejeweled 3 on Steam.
No, that's not a Valve title.
I own Doom 3 BFG edition on Steam.
No. No.
I'm trying to think what other 3s I own.
I think
I have Quake 3, I think.
So they've made the Source 2 engine. I bet you this is the last engine we're going to see Valve make.
Probably.
Because they can't get to 3.
Well, unless they count the new engine they make for their Dota card game. God, I'm so salty about that. Like, I don't even care about Dota. Why the hell would they? And did you see that video when they were making the big announcement for that thing? Oh man, that reaction, that audience reaction was golden.
There was so much rage there.
Oh man. So did you see it? at all? No, they go through, they build up this thing because it's Valve. And they say they're coming out with a new game. And they go through this, they have this press conference, and they're just winding them up and winding them up. People
probably thought it was part 3.
And everybody's thinking like part 3, Portal 3, any 3.
Or even Left 4 Dead 3, because that's been shown to be in development.
And then it comes out and it says Artifact, Dota card game. And the whole audience gives this soul withering,
My face probably would have been like,
and you can just tell somebody just felt their job security just fall down through the floor after that reaction. Like,
it'd have been like, I knew I didn't want to do this. I told them this was a bad idea.
I will say that is that audience reaction right there is probably the only good thing that's going to come out of this game.
I bet you Gabe Newell currently sits at home and watches that every night and jerks off because he gets such a kick out of trolling his fan base.
He's like those Comcast reps in South Park.
Huh? Here it comes. Yeah. Here it comes. Yes!
I hate my life, and I'm glad my audience hates me too, you know? But we'll have to see. You know, it's like... But that's all. We'll see what ends up happening. I mean, there's other stories we can go into, but we've covered a lot this week already. Yeah. So this has been the GACC podcast. Remember, you can listen to us in audio format on iTunes and Google Play. You can find us in video format on VidMe and YouTube. And also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. And
remember to upvote, comment, rate, review, like, subscribe.
Share it with your friends.
Yeah, spread us around.
And we will see you next time.
Later, folks.
Bye.
Wait, were we going to smoke before we actually start?
Oh, that's last fucking minute. Freaking addict. Go smoke if you need to. All the way up to the last minute. We just pressed record. Just pressed record. Got done with the sync and everything like that. What does he do? Hey, we should go smoke. God, glad I quit.